And there we are live on YouTube for our beautiful sharing of chapter 15 from A Course in Miracles. And so thank you, everyone. And I guess, let's see, did Mickey leave already? Anybody want to pray us in, say the truly helpful prayer, or any sort of a thought you may have to share with us? I could try singing that truly helpful prayer. I know it'd be horrible because my singing voice has gone. So weird. I'll do it anyway. All right. Be ready. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, but he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I am healed as I let him teach me to heal. All crackly voice and all. God bless us. Yes, Robbie.
Make us realize our oneness with thee.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Make us realize our oneness with you. That's a beautiful prayer. And I'm so grateful Mickey came in just to do that. Just to tell me where we were in the book. What a gift. We are so lucky. All right. So here we are in chapter 15, section 8, or section 9, paragraph 4. And who would like to read this paragraph?
I will, Lynn, and thank you for singing the prayer. It was beautiful.
Thank you. It's kind of crackly, but it used to be much better.
Okay, chapter 15, paragraph 4. It is impossible to divide your strength between heaven and hell, God and the ego, and release your power to creation, which is the only purpose for which it was given you. Love would always give increase. Limits are demanded by the ego and represent its demands to make little and ineffectual. Limit your sight of a brother to his body, which you will do as long as you would not release him from it, and you have denied his gift to you. His body cannot give it, and seek it not through yours. Yet your minds are already continuous, and their union need only be accepted, and the loneliness in heaven is gone. I love that. The loneliness in heaven is gone. Earlier when you were saying that we are essentially all alone, and we all know that deep inside, I like to think and know that I am one with God and that God is always with me. Jesus is always with me, which means I'm not truly alone. And this is also saying our minds are joined, this collective that we all feel when we gather. And I think we feel it for everyone when we see through true empathy or compassion. Anyway, that's all that I have to say right now about this. Love would always give increase. Limits are demanded by the ego and represent its demands to make little and ineffectual, which is what it tells me all the time, that I am bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And that you're bad. Not I'm bad, you're bad. We're all bad, 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 bad.
It's all bad.
We're all bad. So just forget about everything. Well, that's what the ego would tell you, isn't that? Honestly. Steve, yes, please go ahead.
In listening to the reading just now, I was led to think about and dwell on the part of life that contracts, that wants to make small. And I'm in a wonder of that phenomenon because what comes to mind is that actual contraction is like the pull of gravity in contrast to the centrifugal force of the earth around the sun. There is the contraction of the hole in the end of the hose that causes the water to go further. There is the resistance of the electric wire that causes the light bulb to glow. So even, I don't know whether it's talking about that making small, but to me, nature, wintertime in its contraction to turn inward and withdraw, to make small, is beautiful. Thank you for listening. I'm complete.
Oh, I love that, Steve. Thank you so much. What a beautiful thought. And as you were speaking that, I was thinking about, yes, winter is the time when we come to our sanctuary and huddle together to stay warm. And we have these celebrations that excuse me, that come up, the celebrations of light and life, the Christmas tree, uh, the candles, all the things that we do to brighten up even the sky itself. And we've been seeing it here in this country. We've been seeing the aurora borealis, the northern lights. We just have been going through it was at the Geminids. We've just been going through a whole meteor shower thing and thinking about our people long ago who didn't have night light. They were outside like a shepherd sitting watching his flock by night, seeing the stars and thinking about the stars, thinking about the lights. All of these things are reminders that as we shrink into ourselves and become smaller, we actually become aware of the 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 gianthood, the massive uh, universe that we are a part of. And it's just like that Mickey Singer book and talking about that we're made of stardust. And literally that's it. And stars are not that big of a deal. They're just big balls of gas, burning. But from here, they seem like magic. So so that's when we look at ourselves and our brothers as just being this thing, we we're disconnecting from the magic of the truth of what it is. Thank you, Steve. That was really
I
beautiful.
also want to add the contraction of my breathing, which is my guru, the breath itself. The contraction of the size of my lungs, the emptying and the making smaller, allows the next breath to fill and expand. Thank you. I'm complete.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. Wow. You're a poet, Steve. I love that. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, the sentence, love would always give increase, limits are demanded by the ego. That keeps the ego mind in a constant state of want or desire. And as the Buddha so beautifully commented, that is the source of all suffering. And no matter how much you get, the ego is always going to say, "I want more, I want more, I want more," and that perpetuates the wanting, the desire, the suffering. So it's that wheel that keeps turning, that hamster in the wheel that keeps going around and round and round and round and round. And the reality is the love, and the illusion is the ego. So what am I going to align with? Okay, fortunately, those wanting feelings came up to leave, so I can welcome them and let them go and get back to the peace, the quiet, the divine understanding that we truly are. So that sentence was a really great reminder of the power of letting go of of those wanting feelings, those desires. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Rafi. Yeah. Yeah, and as Deb had pointed out in the section of a course called the Antichrist, he talks about that the Antichrist is really more. It's thinking there is more, I want more, I don't have it all. And of course, that's kind of the reason for the tiny mad idea, wasn't it? Is there more? Basically was the question. Is there more than everything? And Jesus tells us very clearly, more than everything is nothing.
Rafi, as you were speaking, you reminded me to drop my shoulders and let go. So I embodied it. So thank you. It's complete.
Yeah, thank you. I need all these instructions for breathing. Uh, uh, all right, thank you. Yes, let go, drop your shoulders. So what else? I'm reading this paragraph, and he's saying if you limit your sight of a brother to his body. And the course is not talking about just the physical body. The course is talking about the personality, the environment, everything that we think of when we think about anybody. You don't just think about, think about Rafi and all I'm thinking about is the face I see. I think about Rafi and I think about the couch that he's sitting on, the plates that are on the wall behind him, all the meaning that, all these things have to him or may have to him, his life, his story, his wisdom, his personality, all of these things. When I'm thinking about Rafi, these are all the things that I'm thinking about, not just the physical person that's sitting here, the words that he's saying. They have a meaning. Every bit of it has a meaning. So if I limit Rafi to that, all that, and that's all I expect from him is for him to be there doing that, saying that, being that. And then all of a sudden, he comes up with something that I've never heard before, never thought of before, or never imagined before. Uh, am I willing to listen to that and let my understanding of Rafi expand, which absolutely it did when he told the story about the St. Francis um, artifacts in the cathedral. That expanded my thought about Rafi. It gave me a deeper understanding of the being that he is, gave me a deeper understanding of his connection to the all. And so I was able to expand my vision of him. But if I had just been like, well, yeah, he's just a guy, he lives out there in California, he's kind of older, he went to high school with Dove, and I know this and I know that about him. If that was all I knew about him, that new information or that new thought would not have affected me, uh, because I wouldn't have been looking for it or being willing um, to join with him in that. So, that's just an example of, when you limit somebody, we talk about these politicians that we're looking at and, the things that they say and the things that they do. And, we think well, that's all they are. They're just that, whatever that is, that's all they are. But, then, if you get to know something about their life or their family or their health or their beliefs or their feelings or their thoughts or whatever, if you can just open your mind to that, you are going to be able to see that they're not just that thing you thought you saw. There's much more to them. So, so being open and not not looking at him through my own thinking. His body can't give it to me. I shouldn't be seeking it through my own body, my own mind, my own thinking. Yet your minds are already continuous, he says, and their union need only be accepted, and the loneliness in heaven is gone. Where is that loneliness coming from? It's coming from my rejection of a brother for being or saying or thinking something that is different than what I think. And I can never love them. And I've often said that, and I think you've probably heard me say this. You know, if I spend 5 minutes in a room with a person, no matter how much I may have hated them before I came in contact with them, once I am with that real person, I can't help but love them. And here's a really good example too. If you saw the little thing, the new mayor of New York, Mamdani, who is Muslim, and so a lot of people in America are already, he's a Muslim, he's a socialist, he's blah blah, and they're thinking all these terrible thoughts about this person. And then you think about the president of the United States right now, Donald Trump, who, you know, we think, well, this is what he thinks, and this is what he does, and this is who he is, and this is all about this. You know, I know everything about this person. And then you see a press conference or a meeting where the two of these people came together and sat down next to each other. And what you saw was a love fest. What you saw was an acceptance, and you know, a genuine smiling and loving and looking and accepting going on. But these two characters that were so opposite of each other, but when they came together, couldn't help, because both of them are the sons of God. We are the same thing. They couldn't help but love each other. And that was a big shock to a lot of people. They're like, oh, he's faking it. You know, how can, no, really, if you look, it was a genuine love that was being felt there, because at least one of those people came to that meeting with an open heart and an open mind. And in that connection, it opened the other, and they became buddies. Seriously. And if you haven't seen that, I encourage you, go look that up. Go look that up. Don't read all the cynical remarks. Just look that up and watch those two people interact with each other. And you will see that there is something there that could only be because there is a heart in each and every one of us that will connect with the heart in each and every one of us. Because that's why, you know, heaven's not lonely because we're all different and can't get along. Heaven's lonely because our hearts are closed, and we're living in fear. And if you just open your heart, which is really what Jesus is imploring us to do here, right? You know, he's not doing anything other than imploring us to open our hearts. That's why he says, it's impossible to divide your strength between heaven and hell, God and the ego, and release your power to creation, which is the only purpose for which it was given you. Love would always give increase. Love would always give increase. And when we stop believing those limited thoughts, which hold a person in a prison, it puts a person in a cage. You know, once I come into your place and you have already made up your mind about who I am, what I'm here for, what I'm going to do, then there's no purpose of me even being there, because you've already told the story that you want to hear, and you're not willing to listen to something different. And whether I'm here or not, you are going to think that same thing. It's only when we come with an open heart that these things can be allowed. And that's what I think. I think at least Mamdani and maybe Trump too, had a little opening there. And somehow there was a little willingness to accept. And seeing that, man, that opened my heart tremendously and let me see into something of Donald Trump that I don't think I would have seen otherwise. And it was just what I needed to see, because I've been, asking, please show me how I can love this brother. So anyways, anybody else have anything to share? All right, so let's read paragraph 6. Please, somebody read paragraph 6, Rafi.
No, it wasn't about the reading, it was about what you just said.
Okay.
A long time ago, I realized, I looked at the difference between the artist, like an actor, for instance, and the person, or a painter and the person. The difference between the artist and the person. And in many cases, one is one way, and I've experienced it because you've been in the business for so long. I've experienced that the artist is one way and the person is another way. Sometimes they're perfectly aligned. Like you take a Tom Hanks, he's great on at work, and in his private life, he's just a very wonderful man. And then there are a few others who are so insecure that when they're in their work, they're great, but in their private life, they're very difficult to deal with. And I took a look at what you said about Trump and the mayor of New York, and I realized that maybe Trump as the president is one guy, but Trump as a guy is another way. And that was kind of an eye opener, because when Bill Maher went to have dinner at the White House, that same thing occurred. He wasn't the president, he was just a guy having dinner with Bill Maher. And so we have to take a look at that, and or I do anyway, and at least take that into consideration, which makes judging a lot less. It takes judging and puts it away on the shelf. And as long as we're not judging, we're not an ego. As long as I'm not judging, I'm not an ego. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that, Rafi. And that Bill Maher thing too. Yes. This story that I have in my mind about a person, I can look and see, that it is, that person is much more complex, and there's a lot more there. But if I limit them to just being that one thing, I'll never see the rest of it. So who would like to read paragraph 5?
I'm happy to still, and I totally appreciate what you just shared too. And I remember that day they were meeting, and we imagined it being awful. I did. And yet it was a delight to see them together in the Oval Office. So I agree that there's something about our magnificent hearts when we connect.
Yeah.
Anyway, for the paragraph, if you would but let the Holy Spirit tell you of the love of God for you and the need your creations have to be with you forever, you would experience the attraction of the eternal. No one can hear him speak of this long. No one can hear him speak of this and long remain willing to linger here. For it is your will to be in heaven, where you are complete and quiet, in such sure and loving relationships that any limit is impossible. Would you not exchange your little relationships for this? For the body is little and limited, and only those whom you would see without the limits the ego would impose on them can offer you the gift of freedom. If you would but let the Holy Spirit tell you of the love of God for you and the need your creations have to be with you forever, you would experience the attraction of the eternal. It's always a little wordy, and yet what we were just talking about, when hearts meet, they can see into the truth about each other. And I just, it goes, I used to love Shakespeare, our do we not bleed, in our hearts, this love that we want to know and understand, I believe is true of everyone, and the longing and it's just, when we know the love of God, why would we want to linger here instead of just go up to it? But um, anyway, I love all of this, and I love our conversation so that I know it's true. It's like I know it's true, and I know my own heart, and yet I've let the ego override it so many times. Anyway.
Yeah, thank you so much, Deb. Thank you for reading and commenting. Yeah, it is really just me who's stopping this from happening from my own decisions. And I was thinking, as we were speaking, I was thinking about the times that Volodymyr Zelensky has been in the White House, and how the conversation I can just see the conversation would have been different if there hadn't have been people standing behind them that were making judgments and asking and making statements and making judgments. And so, I think that, because of that, Trump felt egged on to be cruel, to not to be loving. But if he hadn't have been being influenced by other people who were, commenting on how the guy was dressed and I mean, things that were just, completely irrelevant, but not nice. I think he would have been a nicer person to him. I think we would have had a better relationship. But it's the ego that's standing back there saying, "Yeah, but look at how he's dressed, and look at has he ever said thank you?" I mean, that's the ego that's egging us on to be this cold person who is not able to open up our hearts to each other. But if we could just listen to the Holy Spirit and recognize that, I don't want to be in this hell. I do want to be in heaven where I'm complete and quiet, that I have sure and loving relationships that are unlimited. That's really what I want. And so those little voices that are saying, this and that, I really can just turn them off. I don't have to listen. I can say no, and here's what I believe, but I have to be so sure in my own heart of my own truth that I can't, I won't let anything change me. I think there's got to be a place where I stand and nothing can change me. No thoughts, no words, no deeds, nothing can change my loving heart. So, if I'm, you came up and I'm thinking about Rob Reiner and his family and his wife and his son and his other children. Apparently one child, killed both of the parents. And what do the other two children? Do they suddenly now hate their brother, whom they loved their whole life? Do they suddenly see him as a different person? Or do they see him as being someone who's probably really in a lot of pain right now and needing the love and support of people who love him and care about him? And and is it possible that those people would turn away from him uh because of what he did? And I'm thinking no, I'm thinking I could never do that. And yet I have in my lifetime turned away from people that I loved because of something I perceived in their actions and their words. You know, I argued with my sister for many years about politics, you know, and until I recognized that, you know, she's my sister and she's the only one I've got left, you know, out of six of us, she's the only one. And when she's gone, there'll be no one that's from my, you know, family of origin here. And that's, you know, that's saying something. And, you know, when I recognize that, you know, how could I not love her because of things that she was thinking when she took care of me when I was a baby? You know, she changed my diapers and she made sure I was fed and safe and uh, you know, all these things. You know, how can I turn away from that because of words or thoughts or imaginations? You know, you can't. Why would I let that change me, change my heart? And it did change my heart, and it hurt me when I was feeling those hateful thoughts. It was painful to me to feel those hateful thoughts. And I recognized that that's because I was giving into this belief that somehow or the other that was more important than the love that we shared. And so that's, I think, what really Jesus is saying. What are you going to make more important than the love that you are and the love that you share? Is there anything in this world that's more important than that? A belief, a thought, a story? No, not at all. So that's what, you know, I need to just let the Holy Spirit uh teach me about love and let go of these little relationships that have to do with anger and fear and turn only to relationships that have to do with love. And that is the freedom. That's the freedom. Once I recognize you can't change me, you can't change what God made. And God made me love. And love is what I am. And I'm not gonna, I'm not going to back down. I'm listening to a Tom Petty song, and I won't back down. I won't back down. Does anybody else have any thoughts about this? Oh, maybe something will come up. So let's go on to paragraph 6. Oh man, this is so beautiful. Who would like to read paragraph 6?
Do you want me to stick with it?
Sure.
I
Yes,
love
open.
what you shared too. I love what you shared about your sister. Thank you. You have no conception of the limits you have placed on your perception and no idea of all the loveliness that you could see. But this you must remember. The attraction of guilt opposes the attraction of God. His attraction for you remains unlimited, but because your power, being His, is as great as His, you can turn away from love. What you invest in guilt, you withdraw from God, and your sight grows weak and dim and limited. For you have attempted to separate the Father from the Son and limit their communication. Seek not atonement in further separation, and limit not your vision of God's Son to what interferes with his release and what the Holy Spirit must undo to set him free. For his belief in limits has imprisoned him. What a beautiful paragraph, and that really describes what my ego does. It's that attraction of guilt that opposes the attraction of God, and then hence the split mind. And I did read a line in the course that said, you know, when you're trying to teach children, you don't say, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. You say, do only this, the attraction of God, only this. What you invest in guilt, you withdraw from God. And listening to you talk, Lynn, and sharing, that's what's happening to me right now is the awareness has grown so great that I think I have done such unforgivable things. And I can let go of this. I can release. Rafi, you're helping me so much. All of you are helping me so much because it's just a foolish tale that I keep investing in. It's not the truth. Life led us down these paths, and those very things that I seek forgiveness for or wish to forgive in others is what's going to set me free and see the truth of my entire life, to just come to the forgiveness, come to the moment, come with holy empty hands unto my God.
Wow. Thank you, Deb. That's so beautiful. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, it's like, oh, music to my ears to hear you say those things. I love it. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, the sentence, what you invest in guilt, you withdraw from God. The more I disapprove of myself, say things like, I'm incapable, I'm not perfect, I don't know if I can do this, I can't get this done, what the hell's wrong with me? What the hell did you do that for? Oh my God, what, are you crazy? What? The more I do that, the further I get away from the truth of the infinite divine love that we really are. And that's just mental activity repeating itself mechanically. That's all that is. But the more I'm negative and beat myself up, the more so-called distance I put between the reality of what the truth is of our self-realization and this ego mind machine that keeps running unchecked all the time. If I check it, if I back off from it, if I look at it, become the witness of it, and realize it has nothing to do with what I am, then I can let all that other stuff go and get back into the peace and the quiet that is our reality. So I just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, Rafi. And I heard that over and over. If I will do this and I can do this and I want this, and it's me, it's all me. I have to be the one who's deciding all the time. And it's a constant decision. These things are decisions are being made constantly. There's not a moment when I'm not deciding one thing or another and what voice I want to listen to. And yeah, I love that, that taking personal responsibility for it is the only way. So this is all so beautiful. And I love this paragraph. Thank you again for reading it, Deb, because it's Jesus just putting it right straight out there in front of you. You did this. You don't have any idea you've actually done this, but you've done it, and you're the only one who can undo it. I'm the only one who can undo it. I can't ask God to undo it for me. I can't ask Jesus or the Holy Spirit undo this for me. I have to be the one who undoes it. I don't know how. And that's the situation that we find ourselves in. But we're given a way to do that. And that is to just stop and allow the Holy Spirit to act in me, to be my thinking, to be my thinker, and not for me to be my thinker. And because otherwise, yes, I believe I'm guilty. And it's interesting that he's talking a lot about the attraction of guilt and the attraction of God, because when we get up to the obstacles to peace, we see that these are the exact things, this opposing the attraction of God. The first obstacle to peace is the desire to get rid of it. I mean, that's the first obstacle to peace, is the desire to get rid of it, to just say, I don't want this. um, and we do that all the time. every time I choose to be unhappy, anytime I choose to be angry, anytime I choose to not accept what's happening right now. But when I know I'm the one who's choosing that, then I'm going to feel guilt. And that's, I mean, it's just a simple equation. You know, if I'm going to oppose God, I'm going to feel guilty. End of story. And so, you know, how do I stop feeling guilty? By accepting what is being given to me and accepting everything, you know, not to be rejecting, not to be limiting, not to be turning away. It's just accepting this is what it is. And that is the atonement. When you accept this is what it is, you have accepted the atonement. You don't have to even go any further. You don't have to go, you know, lay down at, you know, God's feet and wail and moan, oh, please love me. All you have to do is just accept it. This is what it is. And it's all God. You know, this guy's saying this and that, it's God. I don't have to listen to the words and get upset about them. I just have to recognize that God is speaking to me. And just like I was saying earlier, you know, you may be hearing one thing and I may be hearing something different. I'm hearing through the filter of my own hearing, my own vision, my own idea. And, you know, you ask a question, you know, how can this country be so divided? And some people who are good people think this, and other people who are good people think the opposite. How can that be? It's because of these filters that are telling us what it is that we want to hear. And so whatever it is that we want to hear, you know, I've heard, you know, course students even say to me, well, you know, these immigrants shouldn't be in here illegally. You know, I mean, I've actually heard course students telling me this. People shouldn't be here illegally. And, you know, I'm looking at them like, well, you know, since when did the world become real? And somehow or the other, Jesus say there's someplace you should be and someplace you shouldn't be. You're where you are because this is where you're supposed to be. There's no other place for you. Anyway, anybody else have any thoughts about this? I'm getting all thinking political now, but it's because it's what's surrounding us is these limited visions of what God's Son is. So if you have a limited vision of what God's Son is and you think somehow God's Son is something else, then you're going to object to that because you've already set yourself up for it. But if you don't limit your vision and you actually look at your brother and say, you are holy, 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 where you stand is holy ground, no matter where it is, then you're accepting them as they truly are. Rafi, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, what you just expounded on is a perfect example of acceptance and non-acceptance. If we're in acceptance, then it doesn't matter where people are. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. Everything is unfolding exactly the way it's supposed to be and for our benefit. But if there are people who are saying, what are they doing here? They're not supposed to be here. Who are the people that are unhappy? The people who are saying, who are those people and why are they here? We're not supposed to be. Okay, what happiness are you going to get out of that? And wouldn't you rather be happy? I mean, it's because happiness is what's natural. That's what we are basically happiness itself, not people being happy. Happiness itself, and it is so simple to make that decision. But the people who are ignorant of that there is even such a thing as acceptance are going to perpetuate their own suffering for as long as it takes them to get to that place. But the rest of us who can know the difference between acceptance and not acceptance can look at them with kindness and compassion and understanding and saying, well, when it's time for them to wake up, they'll wake up. Right now, I'm so glad that I can be the love that I am rather than choose to come from that place of non acceptance. So that's all I wanted to share. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Rafi. yeah, it is just a choice that I'm making every moment. And yeah, I'm grateful I have the choice. Would it be nicer if we didn't have a choice and we just had to live in heaven and sing songs all day? Apparently not, because we had a tiny mad idea. So anyway, excuse me. Oh, and this is the last paragraph in this section. So let us read paragraph 7. Who would like to read paragraph 7 for us?
I'm not trying to hog it, but I just keep reading if there
That's
isn't
fine.
anyone else. Okay.
No one else is volunteering. It's you, girl.
When the body ceases to attract you, and when you place no value on it as a means of getting anything, then there will be no interference in communication, and your thoughts will be as free as God's. As you let the Holy Spirit teach you how to use the body only for purposes of communication and renounce its use for separation and attack, which the ego sees in it, you will learn you have no need of a body at all. In the holy instant, there are no bodies, and you experience only the attraction of God. Accepting it as undivided, you join Him wholly in an instant, for you would visit no limits on your union with Him. The reality of this relationship becomes the only truth that you could ever want. All truth is here. All I can say is that is absolutely amazing. And the reality of this relationship becomes the only truth you could ever want. All truth is here. And just to respond a little bit to what you were sharing earlier, when I was raising children and my son hit the 14 to 17 years old, and I was trying to be the parent and the policeman and the counselor and and everything, I had to surrender. And one day I told him, and that no matter what you do, no matter if you get arrested, no matter if you commit a crime, no matter if you become a dishwasher, no matter what you are, I will always love you. And I had this attitude towards my children that I am never angry at you. I am never not loving you. I am never upset with you. I can be upset with something you've done, but not you, not your being. And I don't know if it was children, but it's the same thing. Like I cannot tolerate the idea that a human being could be illegal. A human being can do illegal things, but a being cannot be illegal. And personally, I don't think a being can be alien, but I'm not so sure about that because I think they're going to be visiting us soon.
Post anything.
Rafi, you're talking and
I mean, I
I was trying to mute Rafi, and I muted you instead, Deb. Go ahead.
that's okay. But that's that back to that is not our blood red, is not our hearts the same? And a lot of that's psychology, and like just to me, the base of every being, the needs are the same. And I could say the need is as simple as the love of God. That's all everyone needs and wants. And we go in such various sundry ways to try to get that. Anyway, I'm just rambling on because you're all here and I love you all so much. And thank you for helping see me through difficult times.
Yeah, thank you, Deb. And yeah, I mean, we've all been there. Jesus, I mean, if you if I could package up all the tears I've cried since I've been in this room, and just looking at life and looking at things that were happening, holy cow! You were talking about your son and the things that you worried about with him, and I had a son who was like that. I don't even know how your son was, but my son was he had a very difficult teenage years, very difficult many years. He's just now in his 50s, his life is going great, but I spend more time, in the police station or driving around trying to figure out where he was because he left and lived on the streets for quite a while, a lot longer than I would ever have wanted that to happen. Uh, but yeah, I mean, he was seriously addicted to some drugs and I had I was helpless, 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 helpless. And, you know, it was a rough time even after. And, like I said, he spent several years in prison and, the everything that you pray to God would never happen to your child, except for death. Thank God for that. Everything you pray to God that would never happen to your child happened to him. He did. It was his life. And, I, as a mother, I was just filled with so much guilt and regret and fear and just, all the crazy things that, I thought, I don't know if I would ever be able to even recover from it all. Uh, but, that was his life and that was his path. And that's what brought him to this place where he is now in this most amazing spiritual and uh, physical place. And I don't know, if things had been different, how would it have been? I don't even know. I don't even know. All I know is that everything is perfect the way that it is. And uh, we're all reminding ourselves of the truth of what we are. And that's what this is saying. Accepting, okay, in the holy instant, there are no bodies, and you experience only the attraction of God. Accepting it as undivided, you join him wholly in an instant, for you would place no limits on your union with him. The reality of this relationship becomes the only truth that you could ever want. All truth is here. That's, I mean, that's it. That's, that it took me years to come to this.
So
I'm 72
beautiful.
years old. It took me years, you know, and now I'm happy. I have a happy life. So
Yeah, I think it's like we said earlier, it took what, 6.8 billion years? Well,
yeah, yeah. So yeah, okay.
it's just a drop in the bucket, this one life. Come on.
This one life and this 1 minute, but we have lived it all. That's the thing. We have been here since the beginning. We have
Yeah.
lived it all. This has been, I mean, our dream. It's our dream. Yep. And yeah, you bail your kids out of jail. You're there for them when they get out of jail. Yeah, God, what a life. What a life. And yet here we are. And here he is. He has 2 little boys now. And and she had been expecting and she lost the baby. She had a miscarriage, but she was hoping for a girl and he was like, I don't want a girl. I know how to deal with boys. I don't know how to deal with girls. I say, you got sisters. He goes, yeah, that's why I don't want a girl. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this YouTube. Let's see, stop that.